Welcome to another episode of Adulting in My Purpose Live. You know, I'm always excited to be with you each and every week. So if you are joining for the first time, I want to say hello. Thank you for tuning in. If you are a returning listener, welcome. Thank you for all the support and listening each week. You know, let me know that you're listening. Make sure you make sure you give me some hearts, you subscribe, depending on whatever platform that you are listening in on, and just let everybody know what we are doing here at Adulting in My Purpose, the movement. I am Dr. Nicole Rankin, better known as Dr.Nic. I am a certified personal growth coach, and really my mission is to help young leaders truly discover who they are, clarify their vision, and develop a solid plan to take their life to the next step. We know this adulting thing, it's hard work, but you know, you can do it with some help and some people, building a community of young people who are all going through the same thing. Like, life is better going through it together. So with this Adulting Purpose movement, we bring people together, young people just like you, who are transitioning and just living life and just needing the guidance, needing the mentorship, needing the coach, needing the community to truly live their life on purpose. And so I'm excited as the founder of Adulting in My Purpose movement, also the author of Adulting in My Purpose journal. So if you have not gotten your journal, it is on Amazon. So you make sure you get a copy of the Adulting in My Purpose journal. And it's a great tool for you to use to just kind of keep yourself on track in having that ability to gain some self-awareness of you and learn more about you and how you can operate in this world. So again, it's available on Amazon. You don't want to miss that. Make sure you get that. All right. So we got that, all the logistics out the way. So I'm excited. This is our Ask the Expert session of Adulting in My Purpose. And, you know, each week we're either doing some teaching or we're bringing in some amazing guests to give you some tools and strategies to help you move to the next level in adulting. We've had some experts come in on personal development, on health, on finance, relationships, career and profession, on your home life. You know, if you're dealing with it, we're talking about it. So I'm so excited about this session because we have not only one, we have two amazing guests that are going to come and share. And guess what, y'all? They are all the way in Denmark. That's right. We are global. So I'm so excited to welcome to the Adulting in My Platform, in My Purpose platform, Faith Vick and Shahzad. I'm good. I practiced so hard. Shahzad Taharifa. I got it. All right. And I'm so, guys, I practice. I promise you I practice. And I said I was going to get it right. But I want to welcome them to the platform. And I'm just going to give just a little introduction, and then we'll get into our conversation. So Faith is the founder of Global Women's Social Enterprise and a human trafficking consultant with over 13 years of experience. She has worked with several NGOs, international organizations, and corporations across Europe, Africa, and Asia. She is a social entrepreneurship, operations, leadership, and change consultant with over 6 years of experience. She's very passionate about championing change through social entrepreneurship, STEM for girls, and shifting one's mindset. And then not only with Faith, we're going to talk about Faith does have a book out. So we're going to talk more about her book, her self-empowerment book called Confidence, that help you to shift your mindset and really begin to find your way back to who you really are and start living a fulfilled life. So welcome, Faith. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you, Nicole.
Absolutely. So glad to have you. And then not only do we have Faith, I said, y'all get two, guys. It's going to be great. We have Shahzad Taharifa from Denmark also, and she works with refugees at a Danish refugee council and the Red Cross, where she helps refugees find their way to a new country, adjust to a new way of life, and also those with trauma and severe health issues. She is passionate about helping people and human rights. She loves to be able to help others in situations where they feel like there's no hope in the world for themselves. And she speaks 4 languages, loves podcasting, and supporting her local community projects, enjoying life, and just in general, love the work that she does with helping people. So I'm so excited to welcome you both to the platform. So thank you so much for taking the time to join in with us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's just kind of talk about your journey as to, how did you get started in what you're doing and where you are today?
Who's going first?
Hey, whoever, jump right in.
Well, I can start actually. Well, I have always been interesting, in refugees and people that is coming across, like from Middle East or from mainly it's from Afghanistan. So I started this like actually like a long time ago, like it's more than 10 years. And I just kept, doing this like besides, to next to other jobs. So yeah, and then it's just being out there and helping these people. It's just amazing. And then you can see that they're so appreciated when you just, do something for them or explain to them how is your life's going to be here in Denmark, or like how you have to start your life in Denmark. What is their culture? What is their system? What is their, what do you have to do to start a life, because what they coming from is, it's another life. So when they come to another country, they have to start like from zero. And some of them, unfortunately, it's very hard for them because, the life that they have, they had in their own country, or what they have experienced and what they have seen, they have lost their family in front of their eyes. So for some of them, it can take maybe many years. Some of them actually, they can never feel that, they, they will always feel like a stranger in this country. So yeah, and sometimes it can also be, maybe quite hard, because you still need to be, you have to of course help them, but in a certain that, there are some things that you cannot do because it's through, the government, or through their the the place that they come to. It depends the city, and that they have to go, from the city hall, and that what they the social worker is gonna, decide for them. Some of them, they cannot even take, a courses like in Danish school, because the brain doesn't, it doesn't. The brain, it's not that it's not working, but if they have been tortured. So imagine like how can you, learn a language, and how can you actually, try to have a life in a Scandinavian country. So it's very hard. But at the end of the day, you feel like, okay, you have actually reached out to them. You have tried, to be for them, and, just, try to help them as much as you can. And then, you feel good. And you can basically see it, you can basically see it. So, yeah. And unfortunately, they still, a lot of them, they're in an asylum center, like a refugee center, and they don't know if they will get an answer or not to stay in this country. And sometimes they will be sent back to other European countries. And then maybe other countries, they won't accept them. And then they will be sent back to, let's say, Denmark. So the system is just making it very hard. And yeah, and So it's, even though they say, oh, we have our family here. I have my wife, I have my children, I have my son, I have 10 kids, but the system doesn't listen to that. So sometimes, it's just hard. But again, it's good to, yeah. I mean, you also have to, be interested in that kind of job, and also, yeah, because some people, they're just doing it, but they don't really feel so much for it. So if you're motivated and you just give your maybe 110% of yourself or your energy, end of the day you also get tired yourself, because you'll be like, and yeah, and there have been some times that I get home and it's just like my brain is just like, you're just tired, but you're tired and you're also sad, and you're just like, oh, maybe I could have done this better, but you just can't.
I love that when you talked about, actually, Faith and I were talking about that the exact same thing before we actually came on the show.
Right.
So I'm making some points because you said some few things I want to touch on, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to just share your journey of how you got started and where you are today.
I'll give you the short version. Okay. So after many years of working in women trafficking, I'm specific because there are different avenues of trafficking. There's child trafficking, there's men trafficking, there's women trafficking, and they're all extremely different. They have different laws, different sensitivities, and it's very different. Children law and everything is very, very different. So it's not just human trafficking that I have been working in, but women trafficking, meaning these are women, not young girls, not babies, not children. So after many years of working in this field, we were constantly met with what they call the 3 Ps: prevention, protection, persecution. Now, prevention was looking quite interesting. Protection was not producing the results that I was satisfied with. And persecution was almost non-existent. When we look at the data relative to the millions, almost trillions of women who are trafficked across the globe, relative to the maybe 1 or 2% of the persecution, then it's quite discouraging. So after looking at the different cases and the trends, meaning some of the women would get out of it, they'd garner all the energy and get out of it, they exit it, survive it, we would see them re-trafficked. Maybe it was in Scandinavia, but now she's coming from the Netherlands. Oh, now she's coming from the Norway, but it's the same woman. So I realized that if we're really going to help women, then we have to look at prevention, because once you get in, not every woman makes it out, number one. Number two, it takes a lifetime to deal with the trauma and the nightmare that you have been through. Most women, they don't really recover. I don't think there's 100% recovery. I think you learn to live at a place where you're above your situation, but they're always haunted by their past. So I tried to look at the other 2 Ps, protection, persecution, as not the solution, but prevention. And that was actually where the foundation of my organization came from. I founded it to kind of try and catch as many low-income women, or try and catch as many women who are dealing with so many challenges in their life that I can identify as traps that could lead them into trafficking. A lot of people think that trafficking is targeted to a certain criteria of a woman, but it happens in so many areas. We've seen women who are lawyers be trafficked in a marriage. A lot of people talk about sex trafficking. That it's always about sex trafficking. Nobody talks about trafficking in a marriage. What is that? Trafficking in the labor market. A lot of women are housekeepers. That's like a cesspool for trafficking. So I founded the organization, the Global Women's Social Enterprise. Why it was given the name social entrepreneurship is because throughout working with women, they're just social birds. I mean, women are social by nature. And they've always been doing social entrepreneurship before the terminology was born. They've always done it. Women are good at networking. When they make a little bit of here, they know how to turn lemon into lemonade, lemon pie, lemon germ, and stretch it. So they have always had this way of just doing it naturally. But the terminology that was out there that people could relate to was social entrepreneurship. I also recognize that a lot of the reasons why all women and children and men and women made the wrong choices that got them caught up in trafficking is money, lack of economic, lack of money, lack of confidence, lack of opportunities. It's a laundry list. However, one of the reasons why the traffickers or those who exploit, even companies exploit their employees on a daily through low wages, which is a slave labor wage. One of the reasons why they do that is because money is the number one motivator, and greed is really attached to it. So that's another reason why I went for the social entrepreneurship route, because I saw the importance of putting people before profit. But I also recognize that you can make a living without moving against your conscience, moving against who you are, what you believe with, and you can also live a very good and decent life without harming others and without exploiting others. So that's where I am right now. It's a journey. It's not easy. I've seen things that I don't wish upon anybody, and yeah, I've seen a lot. But I will share that it's don't believe that there's a certain criteria. That is the risk. The risk is thinking that certain things are above you, because a lot of the people who traffic, who are the traffickers, are usually relatives, their boyfriends, their husbands, their brothers, their uncles, their aunties. So these are the people you trust. And I just want to share that out there, because a lot of women go missing and nobody's looking for them because it's the family who traffic them.
Wow.
So that is just a warning out there to, I've worked specifically with the women, so I'm talking to you, but I think it applies also to the men and to the children. But it's just a warning that I want to give out there. So if you know that you are dealing with whatever challenge it is, we live in the information age, there's help out there, but you have to take the step. You have to out, because people don't know your situation as well as you know your situation. This is where I'm right now, just trying to make sure that people have a way to develop themselves. And it also means being independent, because you have to be able to stand on your own two feet. You cannot. The reason why, Nicole, people get caught up is because they want to put their life in the hands of somebody else who they think is superior to them. They think is smarter than them, more intelligent than them, instead of finding ways to self-empower themselves and be independent and to trust themselves. So the social entrepreneurship projects that I do is I may help you build the foundation, even help you buy the equipment and the machinery through a grant or whatever it is. However, you have to put in the work, and the success of the project depends on you and your community and your effort. Because it's not empowerment. It's not about, hand holding, because then I'm doing what I'm trying to work against. Being that person who's holding your hand rather than, giving you the tools to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah. Wow.
In a nutshell.
That's amazing, an amazing journey, and the amazing work that both of you all are doing. And it's, when I think about the young people that are out there and who are, trying to find their place in life, trying to find just kind of something to hold on to, something to belong to, you both have found some worthy causes that you're behind, you're being an advocate, you're putting in the work, and you're devoted to. So when we think about some of the young people out there that may have a cause, may have a thought about, but don't move on it. Like you all took that action to say that I love the quote that Gandhi has, to be the change that you want to see. All right. And so often, so many people have the idea or have the desire, but don't move on it to say that I can make a difference. So how do you kind of in talking to our young people and just giving them that motivation to say that you can make a change. You guys did it. Like, how did you guys make that transition to say that I can make a difference and I want to go and do this to help others?
I mean, for me, I started with this for a long time ago, and I just knew that I like to, do this and work with refugees. I think I always kind of wanted to do this, and it's kind of interesting you asking us this question, because not long time ago, I was sitting with my mom, and then she said, like, you work all the time. And I said, yeah. And I said, you know what, actually I like to work, I just like to work with for with people, helping people, right? And then she said, that's good, that's fine, you're working for the Red Cross. but I think it's I think definitely, for the young people, if they want to go and chase something, definitely it has to be passionate for them. If it's just something that you do because you need to do it, it's never gonna be a passionate thing. It's never gonna be anything good. You're never gonna get anything out of it. You're not gonna get the quality that people want from you. Or so definitely I think that it's something that you need to be passionate about, and then you should just go after it. I don't think you should be scared, but just go after it. And I mean, you shouldn't have anything to hold you back, or and if you don't know whatever you like to do, and maybe they should search it, they should know how to start. But when I started, I didn't have so many assignments. Still sometimes it's up and down, but still, I mean, when people get to know you, they know what your work is. They know you do this really, like you're doing this for these people. I mean, they can see it. People are not stupid these days, right? So yeah. And then they'd be like, hey, we want this person, we want the same person back again. So definitely I think it's something that you need to be passionate about, and then just do it. If you really feel like this is what I wanted to do, then you should just go for it.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. So important.
For me, I think that to a lot of the young people who are struggling to make a decision as to what path they should take, I think you should trust yourself and know that you're always on your purpose. You're moving in your purpose every day. You're just not aware of it, because what I noticed, Nicole, is people are not aware of their own self-identity, and they don't want to put the work into working on their own self-identity and developing that. So this is why we see the trends, fashion, everyone dresses the same, carries the same purse, does the same thing, dances to the same song and the tune with the same moves. We're kind of developing clones, and then everybody's wondering, what is my purpose? You're going against your conscience when you mimic others, and you do the plastic surgery to try and look like this celebrity. You're losing bits and pieces of yourself, because now you don't look like yourself. And I call this moving against your conscience. And so this is why you get the discomfort, the anxiety, the depression, the issues, because your body knows that you're moving against your conscience. And so it's reminding you that take a back seat and reflect. So when you do that, then you realize that you've always been on your purpose. You're the person who has like 5 dogs. That's a sign that maybe you need to be a vet or something. You're the person who's always, out, picking flowers. Pay attention to your habits and your hobbies and the things that you do. They will give you a clue as to what your purpose is. And then take your time. You don't have to achieve everything in one day. That's another reason why people don't want to pursue their purpose, because, I don't know whether it's the ego or whatever kicks in, telling you you're not good enough, you wouldn't make money, this is not a way to earn a livelihood, just get a job and keep it pushing. These voices are what makes you move again against your conscience. But if you move like organically, you just fall into place. You just land there, because when you asked us how did we get here, I had no clue that I would ever have worked in human trafficking. My first encounter was a woman who started talking to me in the train, and she poured her whole heart out. I was in a train in Vienna, and she poured her heart out. And being the person I am, I'm curious. I always like, I can find an answer to this. And I started, I knew something was wrong with her story relative to what she was sharing. And so I looked it up, and I found all these organizations that were taking care of women. I didn't know what trafficking was. I'd never heard of the word. And then, I contacted them. I gave her the number. I said, call them. They have some answers for you, And then the organization was like, hold on a minute, Faith, do you want to volunteer and help us? Because the woman said, I'm not going to talk to you unless the woman I met is there.
Oh, wow.
So they called me, and I didn't know that was my first time being what they called a cultural mediator. I didn't know those terminologies. So I'm just sharing this example so that you see that I didn't go against my conscience. My instinct told me act. I didn't hesitate. I didn't think twice. I didn't roll my eyes and say I'm too busy on my headphones. I listened to the person. There are a lot of things that we do subconsciously that also blocks us from the next destination. We shun people. We put them to the side. We judge them by their clothes, or we judge them by this, and then we don't know that that's also attached to your purpose, because you're always on purpose, always, and nothing is a coincidence. So, it was a sequence of events, and before I knew it, I was working as a trafficker, doing psychosocial trainings, and they were giving me crash programs and all these tools that I needed, which again I see those as blessings from heaven, because people went for 4 or 5 years. They were sending me to intensive executive courses, like really deep, intense courses to learn these things. So when people say, find your purpose, you are on purpose. But if you're looking at somebody else's purpose and then you're mimicking that purpose, then you are neglecting your purpose, which is who you are. And I think this is just my experience. I know some people find their purpose through different techniques and journeys, but I think that pay attention to your environment, pay attention to the people who are sent to you. If homeless people are always asking you for money and they don't ask your friends, that's a clue that maybe you need to be the one feeding homeless people or working at some homeless shelter. God is always giving us clues. Is what I'm trying to say. Pay attention to the surrounding, the things that you encounter. And what's important, Nicole, I think, is you have to take action, like you have to respond.
So true. I say this all the time, and it's great for somebody else to say it as well. That just taking that time to look at the patterns, because you're always operating in your purpose. You were born with gifts, you were born with desires, born with certain talents that you're always doing. And you hit the nail on the head that says we often don't take that time to do that type of self-evaluation, because we're always on the go, we're always moving. And so I love the fact that you brought that up. So let me ask you guys, I know you guys kind of work together. And so there might be some young people out there that, they have these dreams, they have even this big cause that they want to see change, but they say, well, I'm just by myself. It's just me. How can I make a difference? Can you talk about how you all met and how you all collaborate and work together to achieve the goals that you have, and the importance of finding people that you can collaborate with and work together to get to a mission?
The way we met you, Nicole. We don't go against our conscience. When we saw you, there's something about, I call it, when spirit speaks, you must respond and you must move into action. You don't hesitate, people. When you hesitate, you have to remember that's your ego, which is you're giving your ego time to start planting doubt.
So also, maybe you had your chance, but then your chance was gone. Yeah,
it's gone. So just do it once the once spirit tells you, just do it. So like we have this podcast, it's her story too. We thought, we're seasoned women, so we grew a little smarter over the years, so then we called it Sisterhood Smarts. So we moved to that area. And so when we had her story too, we liked Nicole's work on leadership. At that time she was working on a John Maxwell project relative to leadership, and we thought, you know what, these are stories that we would like to share on our Her Story 2 podcast. And we reached out, and what did Nicole do? She also responded. So if she had then gone against her conscience, then she would probably say, oh, I'm too busy, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. And we would not be here talking to Nicole years later. Yeah. This is how you make connections, by responding, by making time and simply just listening to God's voice telling you, talk to this one, call this one, write to this one. And then the ones who respond, I call them God's chosen ones for you. The ones who don't respond, are maybe you're a day too early or a day too late. So when you get onto their radar, maybe a year later or a year, whatever, then your roads may cross again. Other than that, they're not there for your purpose. So don't look back at the people who don't respond. It just meant that maybe you reached out, you got a wrong signal, and you reached out, but maybe they're not the ones supposed to guide you or to be part of your team, or you're not supposed to engage with them at this given time. Maybe in the future, we don't know. But the ones who respond, you better pay attention to who responds to your call, because that's a big message from God.
Wow. Good.
And also, I think you have to look at us, Nicole, that me and Faith, like, we're kind of the same, but again, in many things we're different, but still at the end of the day, we're the same. We think the same. And I think sometimes when we talk, we're just like, but we're different. I don't think people will think like that, So that's also, you also need to have kind of chemistry with your friends. If there is nothing there, you cannot do such a thing, Maybe they think you're weird. I don't know. So yeah,
that's a good point, and we talk about this often, about your inner circle, and
exactly.
There's that
and
quote,
your environment as well.
And the environment, right? There's that quote that says you're the average of the 5 people that's closest to you. So if you're thinking along the lines of that, you want to do something big, you want to truly make a difference, you want to I would say big, big is relative. It could be something that, just a small change, even within your community or within your home, that you can do that, but being sure that you have that connection, having that same support. And like you say, Shah, you and Faith you're the same, but you're different, right? You're the same because you have the same mindset and thought process, right? You're thinking on that same level. You may do things differently. You bring different gifts to the table, so you guys work together well. And it's a thing that, we want our young people to understand, that you don't have to do life alone, and you're not meant to do life alone, right? No. I would say teamwork makes the dream work. There are people, and I love what you said, Faith. You got to listen to that call and take action. I work with some young people that they tell me their dreams, and they'll tell me, things that they want to do. And I said, okay, great. Let's develop this plan of what that looks like. Okay, now that you have the plan, it's time to go to work. It's time to put these things into action. So I love the fact that you talk about that, moving when the opportunity comes, moving, taking action when those doors open and people do respond, and not waiting until weeks or months later and that opportunity passed. It's so important. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's just a big thing to just thinking about.
Yeah, another thing, Nicole, that came up when you were talking about timing is a lot of people also wait for their plan to be perfect.
Ah, yes.
And I'm thinking to myself,
when is that going to be?
Even though I don't even think Amazon, as successful as I don't think they can actually say we have the perfect plan.
Yeah.
Because I think internally they're also reviewing system structures, everything. You know what I mean? Yes. Nobody has a perfect plan, and you learn as you go along. So just start, and then don't look for perfect. Perfect doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so just start. And one way you can know, because you're always on purpose, but one way to tell that you're moving further and further away from, you're going the wrong trajectory, is when what you're doing makes you very uncomfortable.
Mm.
And when you're physically and psychologically drained.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you come from work, you're physically and psychologically drained and not energized.
Mm-hmm.
That's a clue that your trajectory, you're developing the wrong aspects of your purpose.
Mm.
Or you're planting a seed. They say the plant seed on barren land. You have to do a lot to that soil. You have to fertilizer, you have to do all that stuff, when all you have to do is get the right quality of soil, meaning just pick the right spot and don't go against, don't create the push and pull. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're physically drained, if you're just not feeling good about where you are, that's a big red flag.
That's good. That's good.
Mm.
That's good. So let me ask you this. So you guys have been working in your local community and really building a global movement and a global empire of empowering women. So kind of talk to that about, how did you go from taking that vision that you saw to doing something on a global scale, and how that journey and that process?
You want to start with that?
I can take it. Um, Again, it just happens because in the
Yeah.
beginning, when a project, okay, so people reach out with different projects,
Mhm.
okay, and they say, I have this idea, it's for this community. When I see the connection between the social aspect of it and the impact it will make to the community, and if it's empowering a group of women, all ages, even pensioners who are neglected, most we don't talk about these group of women, then it's a topic of interest. So in the beginning, actually, my attention was focused on Africa. And then I started getting all these projects, in Asia, different parts. Eastern European is also quite poor.
Mhm.
And then I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, hold on, Faith, your organization is the global women's social entrepreneurship, not for African, social entrepreneurship. And need is need, right?
Yeah.
And so then I decided to then look at the different, because sometimes you can be so much in a certain area, because of familiarity and the
Mhm.
network you have, and it's not intentional, it just happens. But then
Mhm.
something, again, the God's voice, right, telling me, what are you missing here, Faith? Can you look? There's other women, there's other communities that are
Mhm.
even in a worse situation than Africa. India is extremely poor. I never saw such poverty in Africa. So this is how I started just looking at the needs and then responding, and then it just became global. I try not to think things too much, and I try to just look at the needs, assess the need, see if I can help, look at the team that's in place. Can they handle the project? Are they reliable? Are they on purpose?
Mhm.
Are they willing to put in the work? Because I'm about empowerment, not handholding. So they have to, I'm sorry to put it that way, but that's important, because a lot of times, Nicole, I don't know if it's the same with you running your business. People expect you to help with the business and do the business and build the business. It
Mhm.
doesn't work like that. You had an idea, you asked for support, we gave you the support, but now you have to put in the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it just became, everything just happens. But
Mhm.
I think at the foundation is responding, and then just saying, okay, let me look at this and let me see if I can help. And if
Mhm.
I can't, then I can't. Because again, you can't help everybody, right? So that's it.
Exactly.
And again, we have the mentorship program. If we are not able to go full on into your project with a grant or whatever, then you can join the mentorship, and there's immense resources there. We have amazing group of women and men. I have also amazing men who are mentoring and doing amazing work. I will tell
And that's
you.
what people actually forget. They don't think that men can do these things, but they can do it actually. So,
And let me tell you a difference, and some might disagree, but this is my experience. When I talk to men about women's issues, they respond instantly with a yes, and they get it done. They say yes, and they give it. Women sometimes will interrogate you about women's issues,
that's
you
true.
know. And so I want women to recognize that you understand women. If women need sanitary pads, you of all people should know that it's important to have it. And so a lot of women will be like, why can she use a tampon? Can she use this? No, she wants a pad. Give her a pad. Give her what she wants. Because when you can use a tampon, you can use a Ruby cup, you can use a pad. Nobody is telling you what to use. You use what's comfortable for you. But with the men, it was very different. When we reached out for the sanitary project, they were like, oh, women don't have these things. Okay, Faith, what do you need? And then they did it in like, and this is not an issue that they deal with. So that was an experience that I never forgot, because I had been seeing the patterns, but I want us women to start trusting each other a little bit more. And I want us to not look at each other as, you need to look at the other woman as yourself. Just because she's in a low social economic, you understand what a period is. You know, the men don't, but they were just like 2 days and they were done, you know. So women were like, send me a proposal. No, proposal for periods. No, you're not getting that, sweetheart. You help or you don't. Okay, so this is how I move. You know, I'm all of, you know, once you get the message from God, you do it or you don't. You know? So this is how I move. And I want women to really think about this, because women are, you know, the feminist movement and all these movements, we're about empowerment, but behind the scenes, are you really applying the theory into practical? You know,
Wow.
and it also, and you remember, when you interrogate your sisters, you're adding to their stress, you're adding to their workload, and you know what it is to have 3 hour, you know, nights of, you know, 3 hours sleep, you know these things. So you should be thinking of ways to reduce every woman's stress and heartache, and you should be thinking of the things that you yourself have to deal with. You know, how can I make it easier for her, understanding the issue as a woman?
I love it. I love your journey, because it's such an inspiring path and course. And you always say, you said it today, that it just happens, and it kind of just happens, but it's the fact that because you're still in alignment with who you are, that things happen, right? So you mentioned that you have to be conscious of that voice, or the kind of the unction of when things happen, when the opportunities to move on it. And as you're moving, you're in alignment. So you took an idea and then made it into a global movement just by acting. And then the doors continue to open. So I want to make sure we just kind of hone on that, because there are so many young people out there. They're amazing, but they allow that fear, and they allow those things that we talked about, the limiting beliefs and the self-doubt, to stop them from just moving. And then here you guys are, you have a cause, you're helping people, and then you're going global with it. And the impact and the influence that you have is growing, just because you said yes, just because you moved on the opportunity. And then now other people can rally in with the cause. Like you said, you have the men coming in, and now it's you're bringing people together to create change. And it's such a powerful thing that you all are doing. So I just want to stop right there and give you your flowers and your accolades on the work that you both are doing, and it's tremendous. So
Nicole, you need the flowers. You need a couple flowers.
Yeah.
I'm
If
just
you're talking about the flowers, you need to reserve a couple bouquets for yourself.
I mean, it's
You are
inspiring
doing a
to me
lot.
as well, just to be, like you said, having like-minded people around. It's motivating to me. Like, wow, they're doing it. You guys have been doing it longer than I have. So I'm just start like, okay, I can get there. We're there. We're doing it. So it's just empowering.
Absolutely. So I hope I'm not painting this picture like it's so easy.
Oh,
It's
not
No,
not
not.
it
at
is actually
all.
very hard.
Yeah, not at
It is
all.
hard. And I
Yeah.
think
One
it's
knows it's
also,
very, there are times when it is so difficult,
Yeah.
but you just have to listen to the voice, and it
Mhm.
will just tell you left, and you have
yeah,
to go.
Yeah.
And what I learned through years of experience, I'm a seasoned woman, is the longer you take to act,
Mm.
the more voices come into your head to talk you out
Mm.
of it. So when you hear that voice, just act. Just do it without knowing how it's going to play
yeah,
out. Just do it, because if you don't do it, then
Yeah.
there's the voice that comes and tells you, you missed this and you missed that. You need to make the
Mhm.
proposal. You need to make the business proposal. Do you have a social media website? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? Then you'll end up thinking it to death,
Mhm.
because you'll be, the weight will be too much, and you'll see
Mhm.
more problems, than what you initially thought it would look like. But if you
Yeah.
just act, then you're not predicting the future with all the negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
And if
And
it
I
doesn't
think
yeah,
work
you're
out,
right.
you're like, oops.
right, right. And a lot of times when I talk to young people, they're afraid of that failure, right? So it's like you talked about earlier, like people want things to be perfect, especially our younger generation. They feel that things have to be perfect before they move. So can you
Yeah.
just speak on, like, let's say, what is one of the biggest things in your journey that a failure that you have experienced that you had to overcome, and kind of what you learned from that and how you moved forward?
I mean, I would say in my, yeah, in, in the position that I do
Mhm.
is, I mean, sometimes you do feel like, okay, was it the right thing you did, or, but,
Mhm.
but definitely I was also going to say that actually your environment is very important, who your surrounding is, because if you kept being with people that said, you cannot do this, you cannot do it's actually, it will influence you, and then, it would, then you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do the things that you actually had in your mind to do, or you want to just go ahead like fate. She mentioned that sometimes it's really hard, but you're just gonna do it. And then if you're gonna wait and wait and wait for, like, I don't know, the next month or 6 months, then maybe it will never be done. But yeah, I mean, sometimes in what I do, sometimes it can be hard, and um I wouldn't say like a failure, but it can be hard in the situation you can go into. But then you think like, yeah, I did it, and I took that assignment. Sometimes I can also be afraid to say something, to say yes to everything, um according to the refugees, because I'm like, okay, can I do this? Like, let's
Yeah,
say going
you
to the
got it
court.
something.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
going to
that's
the
for
court,
sure.
and but I'm just like, no, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I just go ahead, and they'd be like, oh my god, can you go with us here and here? I was like, I would like to, but I just can't. You need to ask them if you can have somebody with you. So
Mhm.
yeah, it can be hard. It's not always like easy, and then you just go, and everything is
Mm,
just like, pink, and it's sweet, and the dreams are just, everything is good. No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But
mhm,
you're right. With the younger generation today, in actually the generation we have today, they see things differently. And
Mhm.
also, but if they come from a family, today, the parents would say, we will help you with this, we will give you this. But it's better to just let them go out there and work,
Mhm.
and then to see that, hard work, you will get somewhere. But it's just something easy, you will always be given and given. It's, yeah, I don't think that, it will be easy on you in the future if you want to do something for yourself. So yeah, I mean, I try to teach my kids, like, I have a teenager and I have one that's much younger, but the teenager one, I can see, from when I was in his age, and then he's in that age, that we're so different, so different. But
Mhm.
again, it's the society, it's our generation. And I
Mhm.
just think that, talking to the young people sometimes, actually it's hard, because right now when I say something, everything what I say is just wrong, because it's the age that they have.
Yes.
And it's like, my mom is not right, my dad is not right, but maybe my friends is right.
Mhm.
So definitely I think it's harder on the younger generation, but they just really need to trust themselves, have a good environment, have some good friends, good people, around them, and I'm sure that they can do it, even though maybe, you know um they feel nervous or scared, or still kind of like holding back to do something, but just really just need to, just push themselves and just do it.
I love
um
it. I love it. I love
yeah.
it. So let me ask you this. This has been so great. I'm looking at the time like, oh, we're running out of time.
Okay.
Such an
It's always
amazing.
like this.
I know. Such an amazing
Mm.
conversation. So Faith, let's kind of talk about the organization, because some of the things you do, and then how can people get to learn more about what you all are doing?
You can visit the website www.gwse.org and then just pick your area of interest and then reach out to us. The best email is empowerher@gwse.org. And then we'll kind of just sort through what your question is and what the need is, and then it will reach the relevant person. Um, the social media, we're on Twitter at Her Story 2, meaning Her Story 2, yeah. What's on the screen underscore is missing, but if you type in Global Women Social Enterprise, it will come up. And that is the same on Instagram. So just reach out, people. You have to reach out because you're in your home. We don't know you. We don't know you personally, but you have to reach out, and that's the only way you get help. um, Nicole, you asked us about failure. Nobody really fails, and I totally don't use this word anymore. It's left my vocabulary and that of our mentors and mentees because it just has such a demotivating, demoralizing, energy to it. You're just learning. And I think it should be a part of our education that we should learn that we can make mistakes and it's okay to make mistakes. But we only celebrate A students. We don't celebrate the C who dare to think outside the box, and try not to pick the multiple choice, but write their own creative answer.
Right.
Those are not, we talk about thinking in the box and then we penalize people for doing it. So
Mhm.
I think we have to rethink a lot of the things that we teach in the school system and stuff like that. But reach out, people. You have to ask. If you don't ask, we don't know.
Absolutely.
Trust yourselves as well. Really, you must trust yourself and don't lose your own self identity and try and adopt somebody else's identity.
I
You'll
love
get
it.
lost in the sauce.
I,
Yeah.
I love it. This has been wonderful. You guys have just shared lots of wisdom and just really have been an inspiration and motivation even to me as I listen to you and what you all are doing. So it has been a pleasure, and I want to thank you. I know that there's a time difference; it's late down there, so I want to thank you so much for taking the time and just coming on, sharing your expertise, sharing what you're doing, and just inspiring myself and inspiring the audience as well. So thank you so much, Faith and Shah.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having us,
Nicole. It was
Nicole.
a
It was
pleasure.
such a pleasure talking to
Yeah,
you.
to be on your podcast.
That's why I said you guys are alike.
Yeah.
I love it. So real quickly, I'm not gonna end. I ask every guest that's on the show this one question. So really quick in 30 seconds, what does adulting in my purpose mean to you?
It
When
means
you know
that,
who you, sure, you go ahead.
well, it means that, you can just go ahead and do the stuff, and then yeah, and not be scared. I don't know if I'm correct on that one, or maybe, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
You said 30 seconds, so
That's
you get
it. That's
confused.
it. I love
It's
it.
like 30 seconds.
Faith.
When you know who you are, the mission is clear. That's my
Mm,
quote.
And
yes.
then also not be scared. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
be
it's
scared.
a
I
quote
love it.
Yeah.
that I was given many years ago, and everyone loved it. So I always share it just because it works. When you know who you are, the mission is clear.
I love it. I love it. When you know who you are, the mission is clear, and don't be scared. So, guys, that is our show today. I hope that you got so much value as I have. This has been amazing. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Shah, for coming on all the way from Denmark. I love it.
Thank you.
We are having long days now. You know,
yes,
it's bright and sunny.
I love it. I love it.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's still light out there. What now? It's almost 8:30 in the evening, but it feels like it's like 5 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
This is the power of technology. We can get connected all around the world. This is amazing. So this is what we do at Adulting in My Purpose, helping young leaders just like yourself discover who they are, clarify their vision, and develop a plan for their next step. So come back next week. We're going to have some more amazing guests helping you with adulting. So it's always a pleasure. So until then, you know what to do. You stay safe and you be blessed, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.